Hello everyone and hope you're doing well. I see a lot of students these days ask me, sir, how can I know that I have covered all topics, let's say for example in research methodology? And you see that sometimes students, when they revise, they miss maybe concept one or two, and they risk, for example, they go to the exam and the day of the PhD entrance exam, and they will be shocked. So what I'm trying to do in this video, I'm trying to go through I think most of the concepts involved in research methodology. And I do believe that what I'm going to cover here is like a lot of topics, and I'm going to provide even like so many questions that you can just test yourself and see, are you really prepared for that day? So without further ado, let's jump in here to this table and let's try to have a look. But before you do that, please, I just want you first to really subscribe. Your support is really needed. So let's jump directly to the table. What do we have? So I have divided this table into section, topics, and maybe some suggested questions. So the first thing that I wanted you to know about, and this is rarely asked in a PhD entrance exam, but it happened once. It happened once, is the idea of a research paradigm. What do we have in the research paradigm? We have, for example, positivism, interpretivism. So all these kind of theories, because they usually fuel the way we do research. We don't talk about them, but actually they are there. So, for example, you can have questions like what are the major research paradigms and how do they differ? How do ontology, epistemology, methodology shape research? Although, as I told you, these questions are very rare, but you never know. You can have questions concerning these research paradigms. So I would prefer you at least have a look at these topics. Now let's go to something that is so important, is introduction to research. And what do we have in this? We have, like I said, definition of importance of research, characteristic of a good research, types of research, so basic, applied, action, and of course ethical consideration in research in general, especially in the beginning of the research. So you here, for example, you can expect a question like what is research and why it's important, what are the key characteristics of a good research, how do basic, applied, and action research. So because we do study these types of research, said basic research, theoretical research, applied research, action research, so I would prefer you really have to know answers or information about this. Let's go to the research problem. So what do we have? We have identifying research problem, research objectives, research questions, hypotheses, formulation, scope, and limitations. We expect questions like how do I identify a meaningful research problem, or what is a meaningful research problem? What's the difference between objectives and question research? This is a very good question. How is a hypothesis formulated, and what's the characteristics of a good hypothesis? Then we go to literature review. We have the purpose of a literature review, sources of literature, conducting a systematic review, gap and identification, and writing a review. Questions can find what is the purpose of conducting a literature review. This is a very important question. How can I identify a gap in the literature? And what are the effective strategies for writing a review? We move further, research design, definition and importance, types, descriptive, experimental, exploratory, correlation. All these are very important concepts that you really need to know about. Then, what are the main types of research designs? How do I choose most suitable design in my study? What are the key elements of robust research design? Then we move to idea number 6. And as you can see in the table, maybe by now you have guessed it, these elements are ordered logically. So you can't mess with this order, and this is very, very important. We go to population and sample, probability sampling, we have random, stratified, cluster. All these you really need to know about. Like every concept is very important here. For example, what's the difference between population and a sample? Which sampling method should I use for my study? How do I determine the appropriate sample size, etc., etc. Now we go to data collection. For example, we have primary, second data, quantitative methods, questionnaires, qualitative meta-interview focus, etc., etc. What are the difference between primary and secondary data? Can be a question. How do I select best method for collecting data? What are the challenges of mixed method research, etc., etc. Now we go to other types of questionnaires, measurement and scaling. You have measurement level, nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio, scaling techniques, Likert, semantics, all these. I know maybe some of you never heard of it, but they are there. What are the four level of measurement? Why they are important? What are the common scaling techniques? So I tried my best here to cover like most questions when it comes to research methodology. You have data analysis, quantitative analysis, descriptive, inferential, statistic, qualitative, etc., 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 etc. So what are the main steps in analyzing quantitative data, and how is qualitative data coded and analyzed? What tools are available for data analysis? Then you go to hypothesis testing. Null, alternative hypothesis, all these kind of technical terms, but you never know. And so you move. What is the role of hypothesis testing research? How do I choose appropriate test? Statistical. I know maybe some terms are technical, and maybe some, like most universities teacher, they don't focus on them, but still, it doesn't harm anyone to check. You have research ethics. It's a topic that you really need to know about. Ethical principles, informed consent, and etc. What ethical principle must researcher follow? How do I obtain ethical approval, etc. Then you have the report writing and dissemination. All these information are very important and you really should focus on. You have advanced topics, like some topics that go beyond just the idea of research. For example, when you talk about the mixed method research, when we talk about meta-analysis, action research, systematic reviews, grounded theory, triangulation, big data research methodologies, these can be some kind of advanced topics. So for example, we talk about what is a mixed method research and when is it appropriate, how is a systematic review conducted, and what is the role of triangulation in research. So all in all, what I try to do is I try to cover like so many topics. And I do believe that this table kind of provide a kind of a manual to you to really find, like, you test yourself. So before you go to the exam, you can test yourself, see if you are ready or not. You can just go through again the video and you can check it like one point, like 1 point by 1 point, and see, am I ready or not? And this is, I always say to my students and everyone, you have to expose to yourself to as much as you can questions. Test yourself. When you go to that exam, you need to feel confident that, okay, you feel confident that I'm really prepared. I'm prepared to answer any question. I hope this video is beneficial for you. I will try to add similar video for didactics soon, inshallah. See you.